Hello and welcome. I'm Eric Miskell with EMSNOW, and welcome to this edition of EMSNOW Up Close. Today, it's my pleasure to speak with Carl Hung. Carl is the president and CEO of Season Group, the EMS company, and also the CEO, I'll mention, of SG Wireless, which is relevant to our discussion today. Carl, welcome. I wanted to talk to you about your most recent acquisition that was just announced, I believe, last week, when you acquired the assets of Pycom Ltd, who is a full stack Internet of Things company based in the UK. Do tell, what was that about? What did you get there?
Well, thank you for having me on, Eric, and to talk about this topic because it's exciting times for us for sure. We've just most recently acquired all the assets of Pycom Ltd, which it's a very exciting, I'd say, community where they have a lot of developers using the IoT modules, whether it's LoRa, Sigfox, BLE, Wi-Fi, or Canon 1 NB-IoT modules for their IoT devices. And they also have a PyBytes device cloud management where all these devices are connected and you can manage it online. You can do over-the-air updates, billing, et cetera, et cetera. And for us to be able to acquire them out of administration, it is mind-blowing because their technology, they've spent a lot of resources developing their technology. It's very, very advanced. It actually very well complements our SG Wireless offering. Our SG Wireless offering was more specific, more focused in on just the BLE and the LoRa sector. But with the Pycom offering, it increases our complete product portfolio itself. Yeah, it's
And that
really
they
good
were in
opportunity for us.
administration, that doesn't, so obviously the technology was good. There was just some difficulty maybe operationally that needed to be handled.
Yeah, I think you'll see a lot more of these coming around. I think I've been talking about this quite a bit about the cash crunch, the inventory crunch as well too. That will cause a lot of companies to go into administrations. Pycom being one of them. And for us, the key really is the technology and the engineers that we were able to retain. And that was the major part of it, where the engineers all based in Eindhoven, in the Netherlands, and it's a really good city with a lot of good engineers, and that's where the new company will be headquartered as well.
Okay. Yeah, because it was headquartered in the UK, so that'll just be. I think you call it Pycom BV is the
Yes.
new entity, and it's gonna be kind of an autonomous, semi-autonomous. How's that going to be structured within Season Group?
It'll be autonomous, and it's headquartered in the Netherlands because it's such a unique culture over there, right? The Netherlands, the Dutch, have such an entrepreneurial spirit,
Hmm.
where it's a very multicultural country as well too, where you can go in there speaking English and it's completely fine. But there's people from all walks of life there, really really talented engineers, and we want to keep it autonomous so that they can still have that startup feel and that um, willingness to try new things itself.
Yeah. No, and that's good. And I was just in Eindhoven here in November as well, and was reminded what a great cluster it is for electronics industry within Europe and globally, right? So,
Yes, yeah, lot of headquarters based in Eindhoven. A lot of technology companies there. A lot of people choose to move there. It's a lot cheaper than likes of Amsterdam. So there's a lot of people in in that area for us to choose to recruit from, and
yeah.
we intend to grow that area.
Good. And I noticed, and from the press release that was issued, that Pycom has it stated over 200,000 business and enterprise customers from more than 120 countries. That's impressive.
Well, I think the previous regime did a great job in marketing the company.
Mhm.
They're very strong on that front, and they've developed a great community of followers that were using Pycom to launch their IoT products. And I think with the administration process, unfortunately, um, not all the products were delivered. So for them, they're relying on the Pycom products. Unfortunately, they have to deal with the administrators to get any sort of money back if possible. But for us, our aim is to try to get the supply chain up and running again, and so that they can still place new orders with Pycom BV, so that they can continue their business model. And one of the things that we think it's very attractive for us and also for Pycom customers is that previously they would be buying modules and using the PyByte service and the cloud service. They would take that module, they would have to find a manufacturer for it. Right.
Mhm.
And that's where things usually fall apart. Who do I manufacture with, the lead time, all that. Now with Season Group owning Pycom assets via Pycom BV, Pycom BV could then therefore take the entire product from concept to delivery and also management of the cloud as well too. So
Mhm.
it's a complete service where the customers can truly focus in on the marketing and sales aspects of the product.
Yeah. Now, did they do the proto as well in there before it went
For
to production? Did Pycom have it?
Pycom,
Yeah.
they were starting to go down that route. I think they have one customer that they were doing that as well. But most of the time, it was selling just the modules themselves.
Okay.
So the customers would have to tinker with it, try to design it, and then build up the supply chain. And we think because in IoT world, the success rate, it's very low. Like the success rate, we're talking 1 in 10 projects that
Hmm.
really do succeed. A lot of it is because they have the concept, but they can't execute on the supply chain side because they think, okay, when I design an IoT product, let's just sprint through it. Let's just power through it, right?
Yeah.
With supply chain now, it's a year, 15, 18 months. You got to plan that through.
So I may be dating myself here, but I think of the terms of the full stack on IoT, and it's what I used to know as kind of the custom stack, right? Where full stack had everything, custom was more. And does that distinction still apply, or is everybody kind of full stack now?
Well, I think everyone says they're full stack, but what is
Yeah,
truly full stack, right?
yeah.
I think you've got the hardware side, you've got the firmware side, you've got the cloud side, and about the application, the cloud side. So who can really take it all the way from the hardware to the cloud, but
Mm,
also from the hardware side, really do the full vertical integration?
right.
Right? I think for us, we're saying, okay, we are really full stack because not only are we selling you the modules itself, but we are doing the whole PCBA. We can do the cables. I can build you the mold and the plastic enclosure, the full product, and then take it to the cloud as well. That's
Mm.
why we think, oh, we're truly full stack. And that's something that SG Wireless was able to do as well too, just not offering as much solutions like Cat M1 NB-IoT along with the Sigfox as well too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, Before I get into some of the other issues here, tell me about, you coined a term in this too. I noticed the aqua hire. I think it was that.
Yes.
So tell me what that means, and tell me about the team that you actually acquired in the process too.
Well, I think IP, in my opinion, and mentioned this before, there's really no thing such as IP, right? I think um, to design something, anyone can design something nowadays. It's the people behind it that really matters,
Yeah.
right? And the people that we were able to retain in Eindhoven are some of the most genuine people that I met, right? I think I went over to Eindhoven in October to complete to the due diligence of this deal, and naturally, I think people were a bit hesitant to entertain me as the acquirer because it's a new boss. Is the new boss going to come in and fire everyone, etc., etc.? But they were so real with me, right? They were unhappy with me, and they were able to voice it. They didn't hide it. They voiced it, and we were able to spend a week together to really work through our personal emotional differences and explain to them where the company's going, why are you so concerned, and what we can do about that to minimize the risk from both sides. So through that process, we were able to realize the value. Yes, the technology stack is pretty damn good, but the people behind it, such good people that we were incentivized to do the deal after realizing what good people they were, because these are the people that would do whatever is needed to really make sure the customer products succeed, right? They feel bad when the customers
Mhm.
call and say the product's
Yeah.
not working, right? That's the type of responsible engineers that we want working for us with us.
Okay.
Not someone who clocks in and out and, oh, that's your problem kind of thing. We want people
Mhm.
who have that emotional, who has that responsibility, and that's what the guys in Eindhoven have.
Okay. And will there be any interaction with SG and Pycom? Do you see collaboration there at all? Leveraging some of that?
Well, I
Because
think
they're both kind of separate. I mean, they're both independent. So.
they're both independent, but I think there will be collaborations for sure. I think both sides. There's a lot of technology that we can make use of
Mhm.
as well. SG Wireless has a very large plethora of engineers available. That's where I think um, the competition nowadays will be, right. I think people think that you outsource to get the lowest direct labor costs nowadays, but that's not the case anymore, right. The DL costs accounts for between 5 to 10% of your whole finished good pricing. It's minimal. The true advantage now is engineers.
Mhm.
If you have the good engineers, you can design a product that's at a lower cost, so your bill of materials lower.
Mhm.
And who has the most engineers right now? Well, China's got 1.3 billion people. A lot of them decide to study engineering for some reason.
Yeah.
So that's where we find there's going to be a lot more competitive advantage. The pricing of engineers within Asia is actually much more competitive to the likes of North America. In Eindhoven, it's still very competitive in regards to the rest of Europe, but I think there's a lot more um, competitiveness in our Asia engineering resources.
Mhm.
So we will be leveraging a lot of that as well. And similarly, supply chain. I think the whole talk about regionalization, it will happen, but it will be a few years down the line. A lot of the supply chain will still be from China and Asia. And as a result of that, having the engineers closer to the supply
Mhm.
chain makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. So tell me about IoT is this great kind of, how do I want to kind of group a cluster of products, whatever you want. But where are the applications? You said that like SG Wireless was focused more on some of the. What are the actual products, though? I mean, I think of the electrification that's going on of everything in the
Yep.
world, and everybody is leveraging this. Where all of a sudden electronics is become. Is that what that is all about? And is that where are there particular sectors where you will then excel?
Yeah, well, for us, SG Wireless and Pycom, both of them are technology platforms, right? They can
Yeah.
apply into multiple different sectors,
Mhm.
verticals itself. But which sectors and verticals are most attractive, for example?
Yeah.
For us, at Season Group, we're very, very focused in on our mission, right? Our mission is to improve the world's living standard. Our vision is to create a work environment where our people love coming to work so that they
Mhm.
can satisfy and exceed our customers' expectations, right? Um, and to do that, we have to focus in on our passion. What makes people want to come into work? One of the sectors that really drives this for us is the elderly care sector,
Mhm.
um, because and I think COVID highlighted this mostly. People are aging. My parents are aging. Many people's
Mhm.
parents are aging, um, and they need help. Um,
Yeah.
but a lot of them are naturally too proud to voice that they need help. They certainly don't want to go to a senior care home, etc. And what's
Yeah.
the best way around it? It's technology. It's
Mhm.
IoT.
Yeah.
And we are putting a lot of focus into this sector because this is what gets our people out of bed. Right?
Mhm.
I'm dating myself now too, but I think a lot of our colleagues are similar age, where parents are
Yeah.
nearing that time in their life right now, where yeah, maybe it would be good to have more technology at home to help out. And so we're putting a lot of focus behind there
Yeah.
as a result.
I love that mission, by the way. That's
Oh,
fantastic. And you're
thank you.
absolutely right, because I think I was talking to somebody that last week and in an interview, and he was talking about how we're moving healthcare to the home, right?
Mhm.
And that's the transition, and for a lot of the reasons you just articulated. That's
Yeah,
fantastic.
and it's not just healthcare itself. It's day to day stuff. and I tell my colleagues this, talk to this about this as well, about their parents. What's our major concerns, right? Um, Remembering to take their pills, for example,
Mhm.
whether they get lost or not. For some
Yeah.
people, that's a concern. Whether or not they remember to do certain tasks, whether they fall, and also, I don't know if it's popular in the U.S. or not, but over here in Asia, for some reason, phone scams are the biggest things right now. Like people are getting scammed all the time over here in
Oh,
Asia,
yes. Yes. Now we
and
get
so
those. Yeah.
you get those too, right? And
Yeah.
they target the elderly, right?
Yeah.
So from that standpoint, what can technology do to prevent that? Because yeah, the worst thing you want is for an elderly to have their whole life savings stolen from them.
Exactly right. No, and then
Yeah.
you'll, yeah, no, no, no. Yeah. And so that's any other particular sectors that you see as kind of important for you?
Well, I think from home automation side, we talked about the whole factory automation side as well too. And it's an area that we're diving into. We think that IoT definitely perpetuates that, where you talk about bringing manufacturing back to a regionalization approach, right? Bring it back
Mhm.
to the U.S.,
Yeah.
bring it to Europe, etc. The biggest issue that people have right now is there's no one that wants to work in a factory, right? Even in China, people don't really want to work in a factory anymore. They want to become a KOL. They want to start selling online. It's much better
Mhm.
income. It's the gig economy. So there's a big shortage of workers around the world.
Yeah.
And the only way to solve this is factory automation.
Exactly.
So we will be diving a lot into that area as well too.
Okay. Very,
Yeah.
and you know, and it's interesting. And I did want to touch on, you already have kind of the manufacturing side of it, because I saw an interview recently with actually it was Elon Musk. It might have been an older interview, but he was talking about, engineering, designing something is easy. He said, we've designed 100 rockets. Manufacturing 100, that's hard, right? He's talking about how difficult that manufacturing process is. Automation certainly helps that. But you guys, and I love that as the rationale and the value add that you bring with these, with both SG and now with Pycom, is it's a natural partnering of that, right? Where you don't have
Yep.
to go somewhere else and worry about that. I bet you that must give customers some greater, peace of mind.
Well, certainly, especially during this last 3 years where there's such a big shortage of supply chain,
Yeah.
um, our engineer users have been able to solve a lot of these roadblocks that customers facing. Where certain brands, if they're unavailable, we can
Yeah.
help them redesign the product so that they can at least keep their factory running. Because
Mhm.
there's so many stories right now where, because of supply chain, factories are shut down, and with factory shut down, administration, right? And we help solve that, which is a good feeling from us.
Yeah. No, no, no. That's good. That's good. So, what can we expect then? I mean, the deal is done, right?
Deal's done. Deal's done now. I think with Europe heading into Christmas, nothing's going to happen until the New Year's, and we'll start off with the bang. But from there, we're reaching out to customers and talking to all of our partners about how to re-engage with the Pycom BV moving forward, and with the
Okay.
power of Season Group behind Pycom BV, how do we serve the customers even better instead of just a transactional? Here's a module basis. Let's talk a business plan. Let's talk hardware as a service level of engagement.
Mm-hmm. And to the stat I used before, where they had customers in 120 countries, that's a lot of outreach you have ahead of you.
I think we're a small company, so I think a lot of it we'll be waiting for them to reach out to us instead.
And we'll send out the word and let them
Yes,
know, right?
thank you.
Yeah. Well, and hope we can help with that a little bit here.
Yeah.
Um, so anything as far as anything else in 2023 as you look forward? I'm thinking with Season Group and everything, any other developments? Are you still out there looking to grow the overall enterprise?
Yeah, it's going to be a good year for us. Where we're in the right markets. I think we're not very heavily consumer focused. So the inflation, which from the good side of things, it sounds like it's tapering off now.
Yes.
So you're seeing interest rates not being raised as high anymore. But I think it will be a good year in the sense that we'll be working with our suppliers and with our customers to solve the glut, the tail end of the glut,
Mhm.
So the supply chain side will ease up itself too. So it's looking good from that end. From a capacity standpoint, we're expanding in China, we're expanding in Mexico.
Mhm.
It'll be a good year of traveling again because there's no
Yeah,
more quarantine in Hong Kong anymore. We can all travel freely again.
right.
Yeah.
Hey, and what about next month? We also get Chinese New Year.
Yes, and that will be interesting. But the good thing that the Chinese government did was they decided to open up
Right.
earlier on this month. So any sort of wave was to happen. It's already started to happen.
Right.
It seems like they're handling it all right. It's
Okay.
not as bad as people had forecasted yet.
Mhm.
So I think with Chinese New Year's, it's the first time people have really been allowed to go back home
Yeah.
in since 2020.
Right.
So I think the people deserve it. They have to see their family because, as we know, life is short. Family is the only thing that's important.
No, exactly right. Amen to that. And I remember talking to you about Chinese New Year. I think it was a year ago or so. We did a show about what to expect and how
Yeah,
controlled that was, but how it is the largest voluntary migration on the planet every year
yeah,
too, right? So, uh, like you say, and I forgot that they haven't been able to travel since 2020. So
yeah.
that's you're right. People need to get home, and I'm glad they've opened that up sooner. So,
It is. But yeah, there's a shortage of Tylenol now. It's so uh, yeah, it's being bought up all over Asia, and being FedExed into China. So it's
yeah,
interesting times. Yeah,
it's interesting times. Good. Well, Carl, it's been a pleasure talking to you. It's always good to
always,
get
Eric.
your perspective. You're a respected voice in the industry, so I always enjoy our conversations.
Thank you.
Um, I wish you continued success in 2023 and the best for the holidays for you and your family.
You too, Eric. Happy holidays to you.
Thank you, sir. Take good care.